Hello,
Hello.
everyone, and we are back with another legit food review back in the kitchen. So
We're
we're
back in the
gonna,
kitchen.
yeah,
We're cooking again, just like we talked about. Cooking. On
yeah,
our podcast, we talk about how awesome cooks we are. On episode 12.
yeah,
Yeah. You should
watch it,
everyone should listen to it.
yeah, and then also listen to the story about the guy who killed himself.
Yeah. We talked about cooking and suicide. It's a good episode.
Yeah, perfectly, almost synonymous topics, to be honest. Like, they're pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. I'm assuming you don't have anything really new to say about your deductions other than you don't understand how this could be so long.
Yeah, exactly.
um. Okay, so I think this is not you.
Okay.
Lunch ended and the servants removed the tableware and went to the kitchen. The wind and rain neither weakened nor strengthened, and the island remained cut off from the outside world. At first it seemed as though Natsui planned to stop anyone from taking a step outside the room, but when it came time to prepare lunch, she finally realized this would be impossible. However, in order to avoid having anyone alone in the kitchen, she told the three servants to go together. Because of that, the servants were the first ones given the right to leave the stuffy parlor, which had been packed with 11 people. Since breakfast had immediately followed that terrible incident, preventing most of us from eating much, everyone tore into their lunches in silence.
I will wash the dishes so you can rest a while. Ganon, Genji, do you want something to drink?
I don't need anything. Ganon? I don't need anything either.
You two must have been so busy and so early in the morning. It's no wonder you're worn out.
The only noise was that of Kumasawa washing the dishes, which resounded throughout the kitchen. Genji and Kanon sat in some chairs a short distance away, their eyes lightly closed. Just as Kumasawa had said, those two had probably built up a great deal of fatigue. But that didn't mean they couldn't let it show in front of the relatives. They could let it show in front of the relatives. Avoiding that was one of their virtues. After the silence had continued for some time, Kanon opened his mouth and muttered, "Shannon, why did she have to die in such a horrible way?" "Forget about the manner of her death. It was nothing more than bad luck." "You're right. It was nothing more than bad luck." They both fell silent once again. Kanon's expression was filled with grief. To think that Oh wait, who's this?
Kumasawa.
To think that Shannon's actually dead. I still can't believe it. Poor thing. Not being able to see her again feels like a lie. I just wanted to see her smiling face one more time. Kumasawa spoke with her back facing them. After all, Kumasawa hadn't seen Shannon's corpse, so she had no trouble mentioning Shannon's face. When Kanon heard those words, it reminded him again of how only half of Shannon's face had been left, and his grieving expression twisted even further. Why did Beatrice do that to Shannon? If she wanted a sacrifice, there were plenty of others to choose from. Why? Why? It was nothing more than bad luck. If we were less lucky, you or I might have been lying out there instead of Shannon. Or it could have been someone else entirely. Everything is left to fate. Genji, you said the door to Madame's room was stained with traces of something like blood, right? The same substance that was painted on the shutter? Indeed. It was an unsettling mark, almost as though someone with blood-stained fingers had been trying to pull out the doorknob. No, scratch through the door. That sort of unpleasant mark. So does this mean Beatrice came to visit Madame's room and tried to open the door, but couldn't? Genji thought back to the time he had seen those traces of blood on the door to Natsui's room.
With a substance sticking to the door around the doorknob and the marks of something scratching against the door, it had definitely appeared as though someone had tried to open the door but couldn't. How did the madam avoid being chosen as a sacrifice? If only she'd been chosen, Shannon wouldn't have had to die. Just then, a loud, sharp noise came from in the hall. Both of them turned around, surprised.
That's
Hey.
pretty interesting chat you're having there. Let me join it too.
Before any of the servants realized it, Battler was standing in the doorway to the kitchen. Battler, how rude of us. Genji and Cannon stood up, surprised, and hastily bowed. But I didn't care.
But Gannon and Cannon stood up surprised and hastily bowed, but I didn't care about stuff like that. I was more concerned with continuing their discussion. I told them I was going to the bathroom, so they let me go. I thought I'd suffocate if I was locked up in that room any longer. I was about to come ask you guys for some water, but then I overheard something pretty interesting. You don't need to bow your heads or anything. Please, let me hear the rest.
That just now wasn't really.
I've been listening to you for a while. Don't try to hide it now. So, I'll ask directly. Who is this Beatrice? She's supposed to be a witch from a kid's story, but it doesn't look that way now. Cannon averted his gaze. It was obvious that he didn't want to talk about this, which only made me want to ask even more. While making an effort to smile, I grabbed the collar of his shirt. Last night, this would have been none of my business, but after this morning, everything's changed. Now that Dad and the rest have been killed, this is totally my business. I have the right to listen to this suspicious story, don't I? I glared into Cannon's eyes as he continued to avert his gaze in apparent pain. Since there was a big difference in her height, Cannon had to stand on his toes, and it looked like it hurt a bit.
Battler, please let go of him. Cannon isn't really hiding anything.
Then you won't have any problem talking about it, right? It's lonely being out of the loop, you know. When I tried to further twist up his collar, Genji cut between us and spoke. In his expression were faint traces that he'd made up his mind to do something. Apparently he had no intention of hiding it.
I can tell you about it. Cannon only hesitated because you might have taken it badly, Battler.
Hesitating, huh? Not very manly of you. Whatever it is you're talking about, it's even more unpleasant having it kept a secret. Tell me about it. It's not like we have anything better to do before tomorrow comes. A slightly spooky story might be the best way to avoid getting bored. Genji and Cannon looked at each other, then nodded as though they decided to talk.
Understood. Please ask us anything. We will talk.
Right. Then I'll ask. Who in the world is Beatrice? All I know is that she's a witch who lives in the forest of Rakajima. I've heard there's a story of grandmother or someone invented to keep people out of the dangerous forest. Is that wrong?
No, it isn't wrong. It's as you say. Beatrice is a witch who dwells in the forest of Rakajima. Battler, I don't expect you to believe this all of a sudden, but Beatrice exists. She is a real person, the one who gave the master a vast amount of gold and who worked by his side for many years.
Huh? Ah, come on. Is grandfather paying you to repeat everything he says? I laughed like it was a joke, but neither Genji nor Cannon laughed. Not even Kumasawa, who was avoiding my eyes, flustered, as she started watching the dishes. So unfortunately, I was the only one laughing, painfully, bitterly. I see, that's why Genji refused to mention it. If you really mean it, of course, I'd take it badly. So, you're saying that a person named Beatrice actually exists?
Yes, she has been working for the master since before the mansion was built on this island. She has most likely been working for him even longer than I have.
What do you know? Kiri-san's theory was off. Grandfather really did have a confidant named Beatrice. Is that person on the island now?
Yes, I believe that she is here.
That's a vague way to say it. I guess that means you haven't seen her face today or yesterday.
That is correct. It is extremely difficult to say, but
Ken once again dropped his gaze, avoiding my eyes. Come on, don't just stop there. That's like freezing an inch before the blow, right? I urged him on jokingly again. However, it looked like Cannon was still confused as to whether he should speak or not. Then Kumasawa whispered.
Ho ho ho! You cannot see her face because Beatrice has no form.
She has no... What did he say?
Beatrice has no body. Therefore, unless Beatrice wishes it, common people like us are not able to see her form.
I have heard that the portrait shows what Beatrice looked like back when she had a human form. It seems he yearned for that figure so much he would often stand in front of that portrait. Ho ho ho!
Beatrice sometimes shows herself by changing her form into glittering butterflies. On the rare occasion that you spot them somewhere in the mansion, there is a rule that you absolutely mustn't chase after them. It is whispered that you will meet with disaster if you do. In fact, there was a servant who broke that rule and quit because of a great injury.
Wait a sec, are you kidding me? Are you all serious about this?
Battler, Beatrice has already arrived. Such language may be unwise. Beatrice does not like it when she is profaned. If you doubt her existence, you will surely meet with disaster.
Battler, you probably find this topic unpleasant, but you know what? Beatrice does exist.
She exists. Beatrice hates people who doubt that. Can't you tell, Battler? Beatrice has already arrived here.
Come on, quit it. I'm weak against that stuff. Enough with the cheap threats. However, there was no chase of a joke in the eyes of the three servants. On the surface, I laughed and tried to look unconcerned, but I was quickly starting to sober up. Their eyes were also sobering up fast.
Battler, I beg that you stop profaning Beatrice. Please, trust me.
Kumasawa, who was usually cheerful and would always tease people, now spoke with a totally serious face. Well, even if you say that she exists, I don't see anything. Are you trying to say that she's standing right next to me or something? Quit joking around. Just then, that unnerving laughing sound suddenly filled the kitchen. When I turned around, Marie was standing there by the entrance, but her expression and the feeling about her presence felt exactly the same as the servants. Whether your wavelength matches or not is determined at birth, Battler, you were born with a mismatched wavelength. That's why you can't see her. That's why you can't meet with her. And that's why you can't talk to her. You're the type Beatrice hates the most. Maria laughed like it was funny, but it sounded extremely eerie. It was almost like she was laughing at me because I alone didn't understand. Don't you want to know about Beatrice? Beatrice is a 1,000-year-old witch. With all of the demons at her command, she can harness the power of alchemy to create the Philosopher's Stone and a vast quantity of gold. Grandfather built up all the vast wealth of the Ushiromi family by making a contract with her. Yesterday, I read Beatrice's letter, didn't I? That was real. Well, I guess it's pointless for me to try and force you to believe. After all, it looks like you were born without a trace of the sixth sense. What are you talking about? Witches? Demons? Who told you about that? I heard it from Beatrice herself. Maria kept doing that unpleasant laugh. It sounded like her heart wasn't in it. However, the servants who watched over this didn't even blink. She heard it from that witch in the portrait adorning the entrance hall. Maria kept on laughing in a weird voice as though this was nothing more or less than the truth. Maria, it might be rude to ask, but I'll ask one more time, okay? Who gave you that letter yesterday? I got it from Beatrice. How many times must I tell you before you understand? You don't get it, do you? You can't see it. You can't believe it, can you? Just then, Maria's laughter suddenly stopped. Battler, you still don't understand? Beatrice exists. She exists, you say, but where? Like I said, Beatrice exists here. That's right. Now that I think about it, I've been feeling for a while now that the servant's eyes haven't been pointing in quite the right direction. I'd figured they were just staring absent-mindedly, but that wasn't the case. The four here, Genji, Kanon, Kumasawa, and Maria, everyone except me, was looking at a spot right behind me. Holding my breath tightly, I slowly looked over my shoulder. Of course, there wasn't anyone there. I've known that the whole time. However, everyone in the room except me was focusing on that point as if there was someone there. Beatrice is the mighty golden witch who has lived for 1,000 years, but since she can't show her form to humans of the wrong wavelength, she can't talk to them. And you know what? That's really sad. It means she truly despises it when people like you, who are born with a fragment of the ability needed to sense magic, deny that she exists. You're really lucky, Battler. Good thing I gave you that charm yesterday, right? Don't you realize what kind of curse Beatrice would have put on you by now if you hadn't been carrying it around? You really are a lucky, Battler. Oh, that scorpion keychain. I thought it was some cheap gift or something, but are you saying it really had some power? If it weren't for that, you'd be lying in that storehouse as a sacrifice with your face crushed by now. You're so lucky, Battler. I see. So if it weren't for that, I'd have been killed by now. Battler, why don't you believe in Beatrice, even though she exists right now over there? Look. Hey, I'll bet you want to believe now. Believe it. And thank me for giving you that charm. If it weren't for that, you'd be in the storehouse right now. But then maybe you would have saved someone else in exchange, right? Right, then I burst into laughter. Playing witches had been pretty fun up until a second ago, but unfortunately the last one seemed to be too much for me to gloss over. Haha. Then it's all useless, isn't it, Maria? If that's true, then I'm sorry, but it's all useless. When Maria saw me suddenly start laughing, she stopped. Even though she didn't understand what I was laughing at, she realized that it wouldn't be pleasant for her. I thought it might hurt you, so I didn't say it earlier, but... Well, I thought I'd put that charm you gave me in my pocket, but I must have dropped it somewhere. So the charm can't be the only reason I'm alive now, and even though I should have been cursed by the witch, I'm perfectly fine. Sorry, but I don't believe in things I don't see with my own eyes. Sixth senses, wavelengths, magic sensitivity. Sorry, but I don't believe in fake stuff like that. When I hear the girls in class start talking about how good or bad their ability to sense the supernatural is, it pisses me off. I don't know how much grandfather is paying you, but if you're trying to talk me into joining some cult, believe me, you won't be able to do it that easily.
Battler.
You guys are free to believe whatever you want. However, when it comes to the things I believe, the one who decides is always me. Sorry, but I can't believe in something as shady as Beatrice until I've seen her with my own eyes. I spoke forcefully and sharply. Then Maria started cackling again. Well, that's just fine. Well, that's just fine, isn't it? Eventually, even people like you with totally mismatched wavelength will be able to see Beatrice. Very soon, she will revive. Beatrice will revive. Once that happens, she's promised to talk with me and play with me a lot. There will be absolutely no need for you to doubt, or for us to force you to believe. She will appear very soon. I don't think this is Maria. I don't think this is Maria talking.
What do you mean?
I don't think it's her.
You think someone is feeding her lines or something?
No, I think it's like she's like possessed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cause she's been possessed before.
Yeah.
When she read the Beatrice letter. Alright. Is this me or you?
I'll read until we figure out who it is.
Oh, no, it's me.
Oh, it's you. Yeah.
After a meal, some people tend to head to the bathroom while others prefer to relax for a bit. It seems that several people had left the parlor just like I did when I went to the kitchen to drink some water. In the end, Aunt Nancy reluctantly retracted her order that everyone remain packed into the parlor, on the condition that no one headed out on their own or strayed too far. In any case, if 11 people are shut in the same room started early in the morning, the air will start to stagnate. Also, quite some time had passed, so everyone was starting to recover from the shock of that morning, and their sense of danger might have been weakening too. However, it was a certain fact that 6 people had been killed inside this mansion, so no one was completely negligent. So whenever they went into the hallways for a breath of fresh air trying to act tough, they would quickly get scared of standing there, isolated, and would eventually return to the parlor. I guess it's like the north wind and the sun. If you force someone to stay shut in, they'll resist, but if you tell them to do whatever they want, they'll come back obediently. People really do like not doing what they're told. When the servants finished cleaning up from the meal, they returned obediently to the parlor just as Aunt Nancy had told them to and sat on the sofa near the entrance, patiently awaiting orders. Maria, almost as though she had suddenly finished playing witches, had returned to the pure Maria I knew well, saying ooh. What in the world happened back there? I hadn't felt even an atom of the presence of this person called Beatrice, who was supposedly standing behind me, invisible. However, it felt like I'd glimpsed a little of that presence inside Maria. You're right. When Maria starts talking about witches, her personality changes. Badly, you also saw it down on the beach yesterday, right? You mean that scorpion keychain? No, I don't mean like when her feelings were hurt. I'm talking about her having a dual personality or something. Yeah, that happens sometimes too. That thing Maria did when she was talking about the magic circle does happen every now and then. It's freaky though. Apparently Jessica had spotted that Maria a few times. It just happened to catch that in a bad moment and was pretty freaked out seeing it for the first time. So what is that? Does Maria have a dual personality or something? Or are you saying that her spiritual sense really is that strong and she's been possessed by a spirit or whatever? No, I don't think it's that. Have you ever experienced it? When you were small, didn't you ever want to be someone other than yourself? When humans are born, no one has any individuality. However, when they reach their growth period, their sense of self starts to be born. They want to be different than other people, but since everyone else in their class is learning the same things at the same rate and being forced into the same lifestyle, of course they aren't going to find anything that makes them different from everyone else around them. Once they realize that, the first thing they do is start breaking the rules, which is called their rebellious stage. Since everyone else follows the rules, they want to show off their individuality by breaking them. So even those who try to act tough, mocking everyone around them, calling them childish, can actually be viewed as cute kids searching for themselves if you look at it this way. I'm actually lecturing about all this like I'm so smart, but I actually got it secondhand from George. I myself was one of those embarrassing guys who thought it was cool to act like a little bastard. Well, that was when I was at the age where you try to show off for the opposite sex. The main feature of the growing period lies in the impulse to break away from your life as a kid, like a chick trying to crack open the shell of their egg. Do you know what makes children and adults different? Age? Or do you mean size? No, it's experience. Adults can look down on children because children have very little life experience. The reason they snort at everything children say is because they think kids know nothing about the real world. Yeah, I understand that. When you're a kid, you talk like you've got life all figured out, somehow trying to act like an adult. No matter what kids say, adults just snort at them and say they're too naive or that they'll understand when they get older or something. Well, it's probably true, but to a kid, it's just annoying, like they're being looked down upon. I get it. It's a question of knowledge and experience. Well, I guess you're right. There's no reason to respect a person for their age if they just wasted their lives. Therefore, during the period when they try to separate themselves from other children, they also try to take on personality traits different from those around them. And if knowledge and experience is what separates kids and adults. I get it. If they know something no one else knows, it becomes part of their identity. You know, when I was in elementary school, I'd learn things that no one else knew, get things no one else had, wear things no one else wore, and became a bit of a hero for it. I'll bet you've done the same thing, Balor. Yeah. There was definitely an age where I wanted to excel in some skill or other. I see, so that's because I was trying to separate myself from being a child. Or going through my growing period, in other words. If you put a positive spin on it, the growing period forces you to separate yourself from others, thereby pushing you to gain skills and knowledge no one else has. This is also interesting from a sociological standpoint, because people hate being like everyone else. They try to learn skills other people don't know. In this way, society can acquire a broad range of skills it needs to survive. The quality of the gods' programming is truly surprising. Well, unique personality traits can also be negative, right? Like if, say, everyone in the class was studying hard, but I was the only one slacking off trying to stand out. Okay, that last bit was true about me. It's only recently that I've been able to thank the middle school teachers who slapped me after school. But while I tried to jump over things, no one else could. Sprint as fast as I could, trying to lap those guys with good grades when we did a marathon. I just felt like doing it. It was in my nature that if I could study well, then at least I could get back at them by exercising. So I see. So I really did go through a proper growing period. I guess boys really do tend to focus more on physical stuff. But girls are of the same age tend to focus focus more on mental, spiritual things. I bet there were groups of girls in our class that got really interested in fortune telling and their spiritual senses. Yeah, there were. They'd come over asking me for my sign, my blood type. Then they'd laugh. I thought so. He. It really got on my nerves. No matter what class you go to, girls like fortune telling. Deciding whether your spirit sense is strong or weak, what your sensitivity is, whether you can see the unseeable. That kind of thing definitely happened to me. That's because fortune telling and spiritual senses are things that aren't taught in school. To girls who tend to be more introverted, it's a genre that's easy to build an identity upon, and one that holds a lot of interest for them. Just like that, when boys enter their growing period, they start acting tough and rebel against adults. When girls enter their growing period, they start getting interested in that kind of thing. Well, I didn't, though. Submarine having so much interest in the occult isn't that rare among girls her age. Even if we accept that, I wonder if it explains that creepy dual personality thing. Actually, I think I probably could accept that explanation more or less. As you just said, becoming an adult means gaining knowledge and experience. So to gain that, it's necessary for children to learn all sorts of things to break free from childhood. However, there are certain convenient delusions that you see often in the world of children, both now and in the past. Do you know what I mean? You see it all the time in manga and anime, right? It's kind of like that. Like if you got memories from a previous life and that started to resurface, like you're being possessed by the soul of the great something or whatever. Or could it be that a sleeping gene gets awakened? Or maybe a sealed power of memory returns? There's all kinds. I think that's called epigenetics. For some reason,
Epigenetics?
Yeah, when a sleeping gene gets awakened. I think that's what he's referencing.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool, dude. There's all kinds. For some reason, stuff like that, that's really popular at that age. Why is that? All those examples you just mentioned are illusions that get children immediately added to the sum of knowledge and experience. If a 9-year-old girl says she has a 1,000-year-old witch possessing her, then she gains a 1,009-year-old identity. So basically, studying is annoying, but these delusions are convenient for people who want to brag about having a skill no one else has, amazing the people around them. So you could brag about something without having to work hard or study. I see. Isn't that a kid's greatest dream? Furthermore, in their desire to separate themselves from being kids, they always project an image of their ideal self. And it's not rare for that desired self to become an alternate personality. Even you, Battler, probably have
Like
a slightly
Fight
different Fight Club. Fight Man. It's all coming together. Even you probably had a slightly different personality at home and at school, right? It'd be embarrassing if friends at school saw you how you were at home. At school, you try to protect yourself as you want to be, but at home, your true self. So in other words, I'm changing my personality depending on the situation. Are you trying to say I have multiple personalities? Having multiple personalities is actually really common. A girl who's a fan of the occult might say she's being possessed or awakened. Honestly, there are some kids who change their personality so much it's creepy. And some boys do it too, right? Guys who say they've blown their top and suddenly turn into some overplayed violent character. I'll bet they think it's pretty cool, but it's painful to watch. Let's sum all this up. So you're saying that even if a girl about Maria's age shows a creepy second personality like she did a minute ago, it isn't such a rare, unusual thing? Simply put, that's right. Identity is an important factor when building up one's sense of self. And if you make fun of it, it could actually cause children to go back into their shells. So it's important to go along with them to some degree. Although, in broad-mindedness of the parent determines whether they play among it in full or not. Anakin, I can't believe you're single. You sound like you've already raised kids through middle school. So I wonder if Aunt Rose also knew much about Maria's dual personality. She knew about it. Just between us, Aunt Rose really hated it. She said it was unpleasant that Maria was becoming increasingly isolated from the rest of the class. So anytime Maria started talking about the occult or laughing like that witch, she'd slap her. And it looks like Maria stopped talking that way in front of her. Maybe the thing back there was just a little game from a girl facing a growing period. Just a girl trying to show that she was different and independent by holding interest in witches and the occult. And since she wanted to be different from herself, young as she was switching between her normal personality and the personality of her ideal, a witch. At first I found that very disturbing, but after being lectured by George, it felt like this was the path everyone walked down at one time or another. I haven't told anyone, but when I was in kindergarten, I joined up with a little gang of kids trying to form an Earth Defense Force, saying we'd help protect peace on Earth. My face turns red when I remember how, during what we called battle practice, we would chant EDF, EDF. Just like usual, Maria was relaxing, immersed in the TV, oohing and laughing, just like any girl her age. But on the inside, another personality, that of the ideal witch she respected and blindly accepted, was sleeping. But that wasn't anything extraordinary. She was perfectly natural for a girl of her age. I've calmed down a little. The shock of my bizarre experience with the kids just now is fading away. If I hadn't talked to Anarchy and Jessica, I might still be frightened by the idea that an invisible witch is standing right behind me. However, can I really accept that as an explanation for what happened back there? If it had just been Maria, I could have explained it as the fickle delusions of a growing girl. But Genji Ken and Kumasawa had also been there. None of them had denied what Maria said. They silently accepted that Beatrice exists. I was starting to feel a little uneasy. Aunt Ava's position was that no 19th person existed, that the crime was an inside job to the family quarrels. On the other hand, Aunt Natsu's position was that the culprit was hiding somewhere outside the mansion. So she rejected the possibility of an inside job and supported the idea that a 19th person existed. In the kitchen, Maria and the servants had also supported this idea of a 19th person. But according to them, the 19th person isn't human. They said there was an invisible witch carrying out some mysterious plan. Is there a 19th person or not? And is the culprit human or a witch? For some reason, they couldn't just laugh off any of those possibilities. Not even to the most ridiculous story about the witch. What do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah, what do you think?
I've read this before.
Yeah, so what do you think?
I know what's going on.
Yeah, but like, what's your opinion?
What's my opinion?
Yeah, but what do you think?
Okay, I could just tell you something completely false and made up.
Yeah.
I think that Maria is just being a little crybaby, and she should just stop being so weird.
Yep. Agreed. Maria is too weird. So, what's gonna happen is we're gonna kill Maria.
Me and you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just delete her from the file.
Oh yeah,
And she's
just
gone.
like Doki Doki Literature Club. You just delete
Exactly.
the character file, and then the game keeps going just without them, and it works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Problem solved. Actually, Battler has, it looks like a German cross for his zipper.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Battler's the murderer boy.
Maybe Battler's German.
He does have blue eyes.
And red hair.
And red hair. A common German person looks exactly like Battler.
Red eyes and blue hair.
No. Alright. Jessica, all I know about the story of the witch is that the adults made it up to keep the kids scared to enter the forest. But is the story different here in the mansion? I feel the same way you do, okay? I think it was just a stupid ghost story that the parents made up so their kids would listen to them. But I can't deny that the atmosphere inside the mansion makes it a little hard to say that out loud. After all, grandfather has proclaimed that Beatrice exists. And because of the position, the servants can't doubt that. Even Uncle Cross and Nancy don't want to get into a fight with him on the surface, so they go along with it. So, it's probably fair to say that doubting the existence of Beatrice is taboo to those who live and work in this mansion, unlike the rest of us who only come here once a year. Is that right? Jessica took a deep breath in admiration. It looked like Anarchy had guessed right. It's just like you say. No one really believes it on the inside, but on the outside they accept that she exists. See, it's just like the way some people are about God. Even if they know God exists, they don't feel like it'd be uncouth if they actually said it out loud. How do you think the servants feel about it? Are they just going along with it because grandfather, their employer, says that she exists? Well, I don't really know the details, but between the servants, the story about Beatrice has been treated like a sort of ghost story. Remember yesterday when Shannon was talking us down by the beach? The story about how one night she was doing her rounds in the mansion and she saw something unsettling. She did say something like that, didn't she? Back then I thought she was just being really nice to help improve Marie's mood. But I felt like she was serious when she said it. That's where she definitely said it. She definitely said the same kind of thing that Genji and the rest have all unanimously declared back in the kitchen.
In addition, some servants have also seen will-o'-the-wisps and glittering butterflies dancing around. Cannon also saw something like that when he went patrolling one night, and recently, you often hear servants talking about strange footsteps heard inside the mansion near midnight. We've whispered together that the Beatrice in the portrait sometimes makes herself invisible and walks through the mansion. It happened a while ago, but even I have heard footsteps while patrolling at night that resemble these stories.
That's right. She definitely said that. Exactly the same thing that I had been told just now.
There's nothing to be afraid of. Beatrice is another ruler of this mansion, separate from the master, so there's no need to be unnaturally afraid. If you respect her, I hear she won't do anything bad.
However, she can be quite terrifying if you don't respect her, right?
Correct. I've heard that just before I began working here. Someone who spoke badly about Beatrice fell down the stairs and quit after receiving a large injury to their back. Because of that, there was a rumor between the servants that Beatrice's anger had been brought down upon this person.
If you don't respect her, you'll suffer her wrath and get hurt. So, to the servants, Beatrice's existence is just as credible as a story that if you pull pranks on Inari-san, you'll receive Kitsune-sama's curse. Of course, even though everyone accepts that curses and the like don't exist in the modern era, people are still afraid and have a little respect for them. You often see it when, in a residential area, someone is building a house and they call a Shinto priest for a ceremony to honor the god of that plot of land. You might think that was just a big waste of time and money, but it is said that if the workers don't do that, a big accident will occur, so they'll never neglect to do it. You also hear about how if an Inari shrine is carelessly removed during a town replanting, there'd be a curse by a kitsune. I think I might have read somewhere that when the occupying forces were trying to expand an airport, they tried to remove an Inari that was in the way, and the workers kept getting struck down by mysterious fevers. Even in modern cities like Tokyo, it wasn't rare to see modern buildings packed all around an old Inari shrine, leaving the shrine itself untouched. And it wasn't limited to Japan. It's probably similar to how foreigners baptize babies. If I remember right, about Christian doctrine, if unbaptized souls have even the slightest amount of sin, they will still go to hell. Putting water on a children's forehead doesn't do anything but make them cry. But if by doing just that, parents can prevent the children from going to hell, they will happily go through that with that ceremony. In short, even in modern society of reason, we were still unable to throw away even every trace of belief and fear. You could even say that we accept certain sorts of supernatural things, though in a passive way. Maybe the only difference on this island is that Beatrice is an object of that worship. So in other words, if anything happens that doesn't seem explainable in human terms, it's called the work of Beatrice. I think Shannon said it herself. Windows, doors, and locks that were tightly shut would be open the next time you went to check them. Lights that should have been on went out, and lights that should have been out were turned on. And if I remember, even Jessica was joking about it, saying it was also the work of Beatrice when she couldn't find a bag in the morning. Your memory's pretty good. Normally you'd say some little imps took them, but on this island it's Beatrice. Well, it's all pretty stupid though. This mansion has been standing for about 30 years now, hasn't it? It's natural for things that old to get their fair share of ghosts and occult stories, like the 7 mysteries at school. But that's where I'll spin the chessboard around. Dun dun. Huh?
Yeah.
Simply put, on this island there's a rule that Beatrice gets blamed for anything that couldn't have been done by humans. Things that humans can't do. How many humans are here? 18? In other words, the culprit is using the rule of this island to make it look like a witch committed this crime. Which proves that they desperately wants to think a 19th person did exist. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. What do you mean you don't like it? Let's assume some invisible 19th person exists and wants people to know they exist. If it were me, I'd do it with even more perfect timing. What do you mean by perfect timing? Well, the crime took place sometime between the middle of the night and dawn, right? We had some people who were talking together until the middle of the night. Some people on night shifts, and some people who'd returned to their rooms and were sleeping. Everyone's alibi is pretty vague, so there's plenty of room to suspect that the crime was an inside job. Just like 9/11. George and Ava probably told you too, right? That there's a good chance this crime was an inside job? Yes, I guess. In other words, if this invisible 19th person really exists and wants to let us know it, the first crime was a complete failure. No, in the first place, they chose the wrong time of day to do it. If this invisible 19th person really wanted to show themselves, they had to make sure that... What the fuck? I didn't even press that. They had to make sure that the crime took place under conditions which proved that the remaining 12 people were all innocent. As long as there's a single human we can suspect, this 19th person's attempt to highlight their presence fails. That's why near midnight, when everyone's alibis are at their vaguest, the 19th person existence is also at its vaguest. And yet, the culprit who chose to commit the crime at that time. By committing the crime, then one of the 18 would obviously be suspected. And yet, someone handed Maria the letter and called themselves a witch, even though everyone denies they did. In other words, you're trying to say that one of the 18 is trying to make it look like a 19th person called Beatrice exists. That's a pretty crazy idea. I think Mom's story about someone hiding outside the mansion is a bit more credible. Ballard, don't tell me you actually think someone in this room is the culprit. I do. Someone's trying to force us to accept that Beatrice exists. That's right, this whole thing started as far back as the letter last night. I don't have any basis or proof. But with the chessboard turned around, this is my best guess. Seriously, that's too crazy. You sure you haven't been reading too many word detective novels? However, it's an angle we can't ignore. Whether there's a 19th person or not, the culprit's definitely planning something involving that rule about this island. Just now, listening to Butler talk, I remembered something that's a little disturbing. Something disturbing? Yes. Do you remember Beatrice's letter? It said that Beatrice was going to collect interest. And by interest, it mentioned everything of the Ushiroma family. Jessica and I thought back on what Maria had read aloud the previous night. Yeah, it said that. It definitely said that. That's the collection of the interest was going to take place shortly, but if the riddle of the gold could be solved, she'd lose the right. Grandfather received the gold and rebuilt the Ushiroma family. In other words, according to Beatrice, everything created using the gold as capital counts as part of the interest. Which means... That's pretty scary for a joke on, Key. You don't mean everything of the Ushiroma family? In other words, everything that grandfather gave birth to. In other words, everyone with grandfather's blood flowing through their veins. If you interpret the letter that way, these murders are just pretext for the chipman collecting interest. If that's the case, these crimes will continue, because the collection of interest is still on after fully completed. George turned around, looking over the parlor. There were still many people who held the name Ushiroma. And because Goda and Shannon had been killed, we knew that not even the servants were safe, despite lacking the Ushiroma name. So are they planning to kill us all? But that's weird, George. In that case, why only 6 people? They should have been able to kill a lot more. That's worse, it should have been possible for them to assault everyone while they were still sleeping and kill them in a single night. Why didn't they do that? The special clause. If someone manages to solve the riddle of gold, their right to the interest would be lost. And remember how the letter ended. The challenge is all to solve the riddle of grandfather's gold. Jesus, it looks like we're finally understanding the culprit's message. In other words, the culprit's telling us to try and solve the riddle on that epitaph grandfather made. On top of that, they're saying that if we just sit around, they'll keep collecting the interest. I realize this is all based on several guesses that are way out there, but not everything that happens in this world fits together in a perfect line. Most of the events we don't understand are only individual points. By fitting them into a straight line, we're beginning to understand. When the points at either end of the line are already close, the line itself is more logical and easier to understand. And when these points are really far away, the opposite is true. It's the distance between these points that make us say our guesses are way out there. However, if the distance we span are too narrow, that means our thinking will be too narrow too. Is there a difference between making guesses and reasoning? Am I just using easily made guesses to try and force this crime to a pattern I can understand? No, that's not it. When you're lost in the dark and searching around with your hands, what you're doing is relying on your imagination and making guesses. Only imagination can find the points that need to be tied together. Reasoning is nothing more than the act of drawing lines between them. If you can't imagine, you can't reason. What I'm doing now might be way out there, but I'm sure it isn't a mistake either. Only the power of imagination can pull clues out from the darkness, and then I can use the power of reason to tie those clues together. It was a lot of the process of searching out an enemy's weak spot and striking. It's okay if I'm way out there. Find a weak point first, then we can think about how to strike. Right now is the time to find points we can tie together later. Damn, dude.
Damn, dude?
Yep. For the time being, I put aside whether the 19th person existed, and announced our theory that the goal of the culprit might have been to make us solve the riddle of the epitaph. Uncle Hideyoshi seemed to be extremely interested, but Aunt Nancy said it was ridiculous and dismissed it.
Of course. If you think about it that way, even that letter from yesterday makes sense. That motive seems to fit pretty well with the facts, setting aside whoever it was that gave Maria the letter.
Ooh. Beatrice exists. Ooh. Even though she was puffing up her cheeks in that cute way she'd been doing since yesterday, I couldn't think of it as cute. If I poked fun at her, it might suddenly transform into a creepy laugh.
There is no hidden gold. However, if the culprit is blindly sure of its existence, and if they're trying to make us solve the riddle before snatching the gold away for themselves, then I will agree it makes sense. However, if that were the case, why would they start by killing those most highly ranked in the Ushiromiya family? I see your point. If they wanted to make us solve the riddle, killing those closest to Kinzo doesn't sound like a good plan to me.
That's true enough, and if we're going with that argument, wouldn't it have been quicker to threaten father in the first place? You would think it'd be faster to ask the person who wrote it rather than try to force us to solve it?
You've got a point there. Still, I think it'd take more than your average threat to make father spill the beans. Anyone who knows Kinzo well would probably realize that he won't bow to ordinary threats. He's the man who bears responsibility for the Ushiromiya family and all its vast wealth. He's been exposed to many threats and attacks in the past. The family only prospers today because he was able to overcome all of them.
That's freaking right. I can't even imagine our grandfather obeying someone because of a threat.
Jessica, watch your language.
Nah. Yes, Mom.
Don't say freaking.
Yeah, freaking is a bad word. You have to say frickin'. In that case, what about this idea? No, wait. Is this one also way out there? I couldn't hesitate. Out there ideas are like bows and arrows. It might be hard to hit with, but it's a great weapon because you can hit enemies far away. They say most people who've died in battles were killed by arrow wounds. In a battle, you can't just shoot off one arrow. You shoot a whole bunch of arrows at once, pushing forward towards the enemy troops with a wall of them. So keep shooting over and over. Create walls as you push forward towards the truth. If the culprit is after the hidden gold, forcing us to solve the riddle would be very efficient for them. It'd be much quicker and easier to ask the person who made it in the first place. In that case, the question is this all a message directed at grandfather? In other words, these murders were a threat made against the grandfather. If he didn't tell the culprit where the gold was, his family members would be killed off one by one. What if we weren't the ones being forced to solve this riddle? What if grandfather was too? If you think about it that way, it explains grandfather's mysterious disappearance. If the culprit already attacked grandfather, then judged by the state of the 6 corpses were left in, he should have been left on display somewhere with that horrible makeup added. But despite that, we still haven't found him. So does that mean grandfather has been kidnapped and is being held somewhere?
How could? You aren't saying, how could?
That sounds interesting. So grandfather's being confined somewhere, and the culprit saying will be killed off one by one if he doesn't tell them where the gold is?
It pains me to imagine how you find that interesting.
Aunt Nancy glared at her, but Aunt Ava just smiled calmly. Since we still haven't seen him after all this time, I think it's almost certain that grandfather's got caught up in the crime. If you think about it, you can't just ignore Battler's theory, right? Be quiet, George. In the first place, when did grandfather actually disappear?
Who was the last person to see father?
It was probably me. This morning, when we didn't know where my husband and the rest were, we discussed the possibility of them being in father's study, and I went to check his room and greeted him there. Come to think of it, I've been holding the key to his study this whole time, haven't I? Genji, let me return this to you.
Aunt Nancy pulled out the gold key and handed it to Genji. Looking at the key, Aunt Ava giggled. Hey, Genji, I'm sure the police will inspect father's room thoroughly. If there's anything hidden there, it'll just be exposed anyway. So maybe it'd be better if you just told us about it right here, right now.
What are you talking about?
It's simple. Father's study is a closed room with no way in or out except for that key, right? I want to verify whether that's true. There is one entrance to father's study. What about the window? Any other entrances or exits?
There are none. There is no way to get in except the entrance.
You're sure about that? There isn't some secret hidden door or anything? Since father isn't here, I am the highest ranked member of the Ushiroma family. I am asking you as the representative of the Ushiroma family head. Remember that when you answer me. Are there any ways in or out of the room other than the main entrance? As father's closest aide, I'm sure you would know. Aunt Nancy looked a little offended at the part about being the highest ranked family member, but she kept her mouth closed for the time being and waited for Genji's answer. I couldn't help but feel a little uncomfortable. Why was she going on and on about hidden doors? You too, Canon, Kumasawa, if you know, won't you tell me? If there is one, it'd be better if you said so. Otherwise, a certain person might be driven into a corner in a second. If we assume that there is a hidden door, then my argument comes to nothing. Aunt Ava didn't specify which person was about to be driven into a corner, but following the flow of the conversation, I had to feel that she was referring to Aunt Nancy. Mother, what are you talking about? George, stay quiet for a bit. What do you say? Genji? Canon? Or Kumasawa? Is there a hidden door, or not? Genji? When you were in modern father's study, you must have overseen the construction. I won't let you say you don't know.
There is nothing like that in the master's study.
You're sure? What about Canon or anyone who's allowed to wear the one-winged eagle?
That's right. I'm sure. There is no such hidden door in the master's study.
Kumasawa?
No, I haven't heard of such a thing.
What about Dr. Nanjo? You've had a close relationship with father.
I have never heard of something like that.
Alright, well then. So, are you ready? Let me begin. It's very simple. Everyone tilted their heads doubtfully, wondering what Aunt Ava was starting to talk about so proudly. Aunt Ava laughed triumphantly as though she were about to reveal a secret only she knew. Natsuo was the last person to spot Father, right? I forget the exact time, but I think it was a little before 9 in the morning. Do you remember? I ran into you just as you were coming out of Father's study, right?
Yes, I remember. What does that have to do with anything?
And when was that next time you went to visit Father's study? That was after we found the bodies of Big Brother and the rest, right? Together with me, you went up to the study to report that, and we discovered that he wasn't there. By the way, at that time, when you went to enter Father's study, did you notice anything?
Notice anything? What are you talking about?
Come on, you picked up some trash, right? A folded receipt?
I do seem to remember picking up some trash. How is that relevant?
I got the receipt when I bought some candy at a store before arriving at the airport. Aunt Eva pulled a small bag of candy from out of her handbag. I had the receipt from the candy you bought back there. But, Mother, what does the receipt have to do with anything?
George, stay quiet and listen for just a bit longer.
Uncle Hideyoshi's expression was a little strict. Apparently he understood what Aunt Eva was getting at. It really was just a whim. I definitely didn't foresee anything, or try to set up a trap for Natsui or anything like that. Actually, about the receipt. Do you remember bumping into me right after the last time you saw Father, right? At that time I wedged this into the door to the study. So, what does that mean? Are you saying that no one opened the door until Aunt Nancy picked up that receipt? Well, wait a second, Aunt Eva. Wedging a receipt would be obvious. It's possible that when Grandfather opened the door, he noticed it, found it amusing, and stuck it back in the door. Jessica hurriedly argued back. She still didn't know what this all meant, but she realized that whatever it was, it would raise suspicions about her own mother. Of course, I folded this receipt up very small so that no one would notice it, but even if you assume that he saw it fall, he would have no way of knowing how high up the door it had been stuck, right? I checked it while Natsui was taking the key out. The receipt was still stuck not 1 millimeter away from where I put it.
I can't understand why you would pull such a childish prank. I'll bet you're the one who did that prank on the door to my room, too.
The door to your room?
It was unpleasant to talk about, so I never mentioned it. But when I woke up this morning, there were the signs of some prank on the outside of my door, with what was probably the same red paint that was scribbled across the shutter. There were some unpleasant marks, as though someone had been tearing at the door.
Wait, what's this? Why'd you keep quiet about this till now?
My apologies. Since so many horrible things have occurred since then, I had completely forgotten about it until this moment.
I don't know anything about that. I'm not talking about your door, but the door to Father's room, right? Between the time you confirmed that he was in his room and the time we confirmed that he wasn't, the door wasn't opened even once. How did Father get out if he didn't use the door?
I don't know that. That's what I want to know.
Natsui, other than you, who else checked to see whether Father was in his room? Last time I met Kinzo was when we were playing chess, so I was with him until just before dinner. Who saw him after that? I did. I gave him his dinner last night.
Yes, Shannon and I were with him.
So, at that time, Father was still definitely in his room. However, Natsui, when you found out he wasn't there, it looks like all ways in or out of the study were closed, right? But even so, you said you met with him this morning. I don't understand why everyone has become so gloomy. Could someone please explain it to me?
For Father and Mother, are you saying that what Natsui says about meeting Grandfather this morning was a lie? Like, how she'd lie about that? Mom's guiltless. Why would she lie?
Jessica, I keep telling you to watch your language.
All at once, the whole room was in an uproar. Aunt Eve and Aunt Nancy confronted each other across the parlor table, with George confronting Jessica. What the heck's going on? Many people spotted him last night, right? But since this morning, the only one who claims to have seen Father is Natsuya. And then there's that strange fact we learned from my receipt. So how can we connect these points together? And Ava urged everyone to imagine it. Sure, that receipt could become an important point, but I didn't know which other points to tie it to or how. If we try searching for the answer Aunt Ava probably wants, we'll find Aunt Nancy lied and acted as though grandfather was in the room this morning. Has the fact been exposed by a whim of Aunt Ava's? I don't get it at all. Why would Mom have to lie? She had no reason to, right? That's what I want to know. But Jessica, you can't be sure she has no reason to lie and say that grandfather was in this room. After all, you see it in mystery novels every now and then. That trick where people fake the time of death to create an alibi for themselves. Well, what are you talking about? I've never heard of that. We still haven't found Father yet, but it's pretty natural to assume he's already been killed. If that's true, there's no doubt we'll find his corpse soon. If at that point the time of death could be cleverly faked, Natsuya would be able to create an alibi. Do you understand? Everyone? This morning when Aunt Nancy confirmed that grandfather was there, she lied. And he was already dead at the time. And then she moved the body to some other location and tampered with it so that when we find it, we'll think he was just killed a second ago. That makes it possible for her to create an alibi even just by staying with the rest of us. Then she could say, I heard someone screaming, dash over there, and become the first to find the body along with everyone else. Is that what Aunt Ava is saying?
Ridiculous! After all, detective novels are merely books for the purpose of entertainment. You can only think of such an indiscreet idea because you read them all the time.
That's right. Even if she did try to fake the time of death a little, all that would be blown away in an instant once the police did their autopsy. That might have worked in the past, but do you really think that kind of trick would work in modern Japan? It doesn't make any sense. You think so? This morning when Dr. Nanjo looked at the corpses, he was only able to give a vague estimate of the time of death, right? Autopsy results are very easily affected by the environment and individual differences. It's a very relative estimate with an uncertainty of several hours. And unfortunately, the police's scientific investigation will have to wait until tomorrow. It wouldn't be easy to measure the correct time of death so accurately, even in modern Japan. Isn't that right, Dr. Nanjo?
Examining a corpse is an extremely difficult task that requires both experience and instinct. I have heard that there is a very high chance of a mistaken diagnosis. I imagine it is very possible for a misreading of just a few hours to occur. However, for an alibi, that's more than enough. It's an old trick. It's a trick that works well enough. Natsui, it's not like we want to suspect you, okay? We just want you to prove you're innocent so we don't have to suspect you.
What is this innocence you want me to prove? This morning I definitely met with Father, and he told me to keep the one-winged eagle engraved in my heart. Are you denying that he said that too? I will certainly not permit that. I won't let you deny that Father said those words.
Well, maybe Father's body won't appear anywhere. Normally, a person has to be missing for 7 years before they're officially dead. Wouldn't that be a clever way to extend Father's nearly finished life another 7 years and keep all of his wealth for yourself?
I can't let you get away with saying that. I can't let you get away with saying any more. I am Ushiro Miyanatsui. Although I do not have the right to wear the one-winged eagle on my body, it is certainly engraved on my heart. What do you think you're saying to the wife of Kraus, successor to the head, and the one who will act as such in his place?
What's this? Are you going to shoot me with that gun? Go ahead. If only you just shoot. You're just desperate because you can't think of a way out, right? Do it, just try to obscure the truth with violence.
You!
It wasn't like Aunt Nancy had actually been holding the gun at the ready, threatening anyone. But as she was egged on by Aunt Ava, she did hold it at the ready. Unsurprisingly, once things started to got to this stage, Jessica and Genji tried to stop her.
Huh? Yeah, I'm recording. Yeah. Oh, no thanks. Hello?
Hey.
Okay. Where are we? Oh, right here.
Genji.
Madam, please calm yourself.
Mom, you aren't lying, so there's no reason for you to listen to this.
Calm down, Natsui. All you've got to do is swear that Father definitely was in that room. Why are you getting so worked up? That is correct. Natsui isn't lying. Shouldn't that be the end of it?
Then I want you to explain, how did Father manage to disappear from the room? The window was closed tight from the inside. The same was true for the door, right? This morning, if you really met with Father, then you must explain how Father disappeared from this unopenable door closed from this scenario. What was that?
Unopenable door, closed room scenario.
If you don't, I mean you're lying after all, right?
How far do you plan to mock me?
If you want to argue back, go ahead. That's right, try explaining it right here, right now. If you do, I'll apologize for suspecting you. How did Father manage to get her from that closed room?
I cannot explain, and there's no need for me to do so.
Really? Then let me explain it. Let's take the best parts from my perspective and yours to come up with a more friendly explanation. I'll believe what we say about Father still being in this room this morning. However, the next time the door was open, Father wasn't there. You don't have any objections so far, right?
I have no desire to hear anything more you have to say. Shut your frivolous mouth.
You cut off for me.
What? I cut off?
Yeah, you cut off for me.
Oh, well, I didn't cut off here
Okay.
on the recording, so don't worry.
Okay. My reasoning goes like this, okay? I can confirm that on both occasions you were the only one going through that door, and the receipt proves it. So, what's the answer to the puzzle of how Father left the room? The window! He was sent out the window. Natsu, you threw Father out the third-story window into the courtyard.
You!
Madam, please, endure it.
Ava, please stop this.
After that, when you left, you said you were going to check the doors and windows. You took Father's corpse, which had fallen into the courtyard, and hid it. That was probably when you took some measures to fake the time of death, right?
This ties in with the case regarding Kraus and the rest, and also the case regarding Beatrice last night. There's a really good chance we've got reason to suspect Natsui in all those cases. Normally, I wouldn't want to say this. But now that it's out in the open, there's nothing else I can do. Please, Natsui, please explain how you can be innocent. Otherwise, I can't help but suspect you.
Why me? Why must I, Yoshirumi and Natsui, be insulted like this?
Listen, we've got everybody's view on record now. It's useless. It's all useless. And Ava. What do you mean, useless? Jessica looked up at me, hanging on to my every word. And Ava's expression was confident as ever. Useless, you say? What is it? What is it, Butler? Tell me. You're only convinced it was Aunt Nancy because you're only looking at the case from a single angle. It's not like I'm defending her, but that bluff of checkmate isn't gonna fly. I think your reason regarding that receipt was passable. It's not a bad thread of logic, but I'd only give it a grade of 65 at best. If this were an exam, that'd be bad enough to get you extra lessons in detention, right? Oh my, well, how do you think anyone could break through the door sealed by my receipt and make Father disappear other than by my theory? It's true that your theory is an interesting one, and if you could say for sure that there was no way to make Grandfather disappear, then you probably would be able to prove that the last person to see him, Aunt Nancy, was guilty. However, since there's still a possibility she's innocent and these accusations are false, we can't be sure about that. Then Butler, are you saying something other than Natsui made Grandfather disappear? It'd be possible for anyone else to do it. My receipt proved that, right? After all, the first time she visited that study. And until the second time when we visited it together, the study was perfect closed room. When the seal was broken on the closed room, he was already missing. If that doesn't prove she's the culprit, what kind of trick could they have used? Like I said, Aunt Ava, only 65 points. Let's try spinning the chessboard around, shall we? The question isn't how someone managed to make Grandfather disappear from the outside. We should think about how Grandfather disappeared from the inside. The door had the receipt stuck in it, so it couldn't have been used. He also couldn't have gone through the window because you can't lock it from the outside, and when Aunt Ava visited the study, she checked to make sure it was locked. So the window also wasn't used. At that point, the study really was a closed room. We have to accept this. However, the study didn't remain a closed room forever. Once the seal created by the receipt was removed, it'd be possible for someone to escape by the door. In other words, the question isn't how Aunt Nancy made grandfather disappear. We need to think about how he was able to escape. Grandfather's study isn't an ordinary study, right? According to Genji, there's a toilet and a kitchen and even a bedroom, almost like a little house. For example, what if he was hiding under the bed and the two of you thought he was missing? And even you didn't check that far, right? And the two of you went back down the stairs thinking he wasn't there. At the time, this receipt was already gone. In other words, if grandfather was hiding in his room the whole time, it was a closed room. And escaped after letting two of you go past him. We can crack this closed room right open.
What are you talking about? What would father need to escape the room in such a bizarre fashion? Don't be so absurd.
Yeah, it might be absurd. However, it still shows that there's a possibility Aunt Nancy is being falsely accused. Your receipt wasn't perfect. In chess, we might call that a check, but it isn't checkmate. But the thing that really pisses me off is how you're pressuring Aunt Nancy into explaining it. They claim that she must be guilty if she doesn't. If you want to go down that road, then why don't you let me issue me a battle or spin the chessboard around one more time? And Eva, according to your own argument, you must explain to us why you and Uncle Hideyoshi couldn't have killed those 6 last night and then casually returned to the guest house. You've been trying to force Aunt Nancy to explain, so I'm sure you can prove your own innocence, right? Especially now that all of grandfather's wealth has suddenly plopped down right into your hands.
That's right, you're suspicious even enough yourself, aren't you? If you say Mom's suspicious because she was the last person to see him, then what about you, Aunt Ava? The last person to see Dad and the rest. Just like Battler said, prove that you two weren't the ones who killed them.
Mother, I also think your reasoning was a little overeager. I'm sure the receipt was an important hint. But like Battler said, it's not enough to prove that Aunt Nancy was responsible for some plot. We're all equally suspicious. It's not right for only Nancy to be persecuted.
Ah, proud father crawling under his bed. You call nonsense like that an explanation?
In that case,
why don't you explain first? Who killed those 6 and how do you... and then try showing us proof that you weren't involved.
She's dead.
Milady. Milady.
Jessica suddenly started coughing. At first I thought she was just choking after yelling too loud, but before long I realized how painful it looked. Jessica kept coughing and choking, down on her hands and knees.
Jessica, hang in there. Dr. Nanjo.
Jessica, your inhaler, quickly. No, wait, I have one with me.
Dr. Nanjo pulled a bronchodilator inhaler from his own bag, which was lying on the sofa, and handed it to Jessica. Come to think of it, 6 years ago, didn't Jessica sometimes break into violent coughing fits and have to use that? What, for 6 years ago, I never saw Jessica look like she was in this much pain. I think it was Jessica's asthma, always this bad. It's gotten a lot worse these last few years. It's no problem when she's normal, but when an attack comes suddenly, she can't stop coughing anymore.
Milady, your medicine. Here.
Taking the inhaler from can, Jessica used it with a practiced hand. It looked like her throat would still itch for a while, but she had it under control. Are you okay, Jessica? You scared me.
It's no big deal. Don't worry about it.
Beads of sweat covered Jessica's whole body. She couldn't hide in her rough breathing, but it looked like her sudden attack had calmed down for now. That disturbance had made the dangerous atmosphere up until now seem slightly unfocused, but that's fine. That kind of battle of mutual suspicion is completely unnecessary. When you think about it, finding alibis for each other and looking for the culprit is probably meaningless. After all, we're just powerless, ordinary people, and when the police come tomorrow, they'll definitely employ cutting-edge techniques and investigate the case thoroughly, solving all the riddles and arresting the culprit.
Perhaps Battler is right after all. Just as Natsui is suspicious, I can't ignore the fact that I'm suspicious too. Arguing about that now will surely be unproductive. Everything will be fine if we just leave it to the police tomorrow. But don't you want to know too, Battler? Who the culprit is? Do you want to let them know that the pain you feel from losing someone precious to you as soon as possible?
I won't deny that. Even one day would be too long to let the wonderful bastard who's behind this go. But that doesn't mean that I want to suspect one of the 18. Even though I said what I said earlier, I don't even want to suspect you, Aunt Ava. To me, you're an awesome aunt who's always fun and playful. I don't want to trade insults with an aunt like that. I wouldn't want to do it with anyone here. Right? Everyone? I feel the same way as Battler. It's pointless to trade insults. It's probably just stress built up because so many people have been crammed to one places since this morning.
Probably. It is only natural. It may not be my place to say it, but I think we should all relax as much as possible. Ava, I think we'd better cool our heads too. The receipt's definitely a big clue for figuring out how Father disappeared. We should tell the police about it when they come.
That's right. Right. I just felt a little triumphant when I figured out the part with the receipt. Of course, this might only suspect Natsu, right? We're just as suspicious. But still, Battler, at least the part about the receipt is real, okay? Don't forget it. And try thinking deeply about what it means one more time, okay?
And even Uncle Hideyoshi stood up. It looked like they had planned on leaving the parlor.
In the end, it's pointless for us to keep playing detectives. After all, the police will reveal everything anyway.
That's right. Even if we don't play this detective game, the typhoon will pass. And when those lively seagulls return to the harbor, everything will see it to settle itself. That's right. If you think about it, this kind of crime is completely trivial. It will definitely be resolved. Even if you do nothing. When the seagulls cry.
Natsuya, I take it you don't want to see my face anymore. I feel the same. If I remember correctly, yesterday you had some rooms prepared for us in the mansion so that we wouldn't need to go back to the guest house, right? Those should each have a bath and toilet as well as a lock and chain to secure the door. There's even a bed to lie on, and my husband will be able to watch TV without having to fight with Maria over which channel to watch, right?
Do whatever you want, but make sure to be cautious.
Thank you. And mind your own business. I will be counting on you to keep an eye on everyone, okay? Because the culprit is definitely here. And make sure you don't forget to keep an eye on yourself, too. Aww.
Have you finished taking your parting shots?
Yes, I'm finished. See you, Natsui. Geiji, let us know when it's time for dinner. Until then, we'll lock ourselves in with a chain.
Genji, Cannon, escort them to the guest room.
We'll be fine. I hate shady escorts. In fact, I'd be more comfortable if nobody leaves this room until we reach ours. Let's go, George.
I'll stay here with everyone.
George, the culprit is in this room. Do you plan on staying in a place like that?
Leaving this room would be the same as suspecting one of my relatives. I can't believe anyone in our family is capable of something that horrible.
George, darling, you tell him too.
George is already an adult man. If his code tells him not to leave this room, then it's up to him. Let him do what he wants.
Father. And even Uncle Hideyoshi left. Yeah, that's probably you.
Yeah, Aunt Ava and Uncle Hideyoshi left. The only voice that called after them was the sound of the rain. Oh no, it's still you.
Still me. The parlor was being buried beneath a savage atmosphere. When I looked at the clock, I was surprised to find it was already evening. How had we already spent that much time worrying about needless things, talking with each other, fighting with each other? Feeling bored, I started scratching my head when Maria and I made eye contact. I was a little surprised since I thought she was completely immersed in the TV. I believe it now. Ooh. The letter, the murders, everything. It was all Beatrice. In fact, I almost feel like begging her to come out and take credit for it all. I want it to be the work of a 19th person. Otherwise, the 18 of us will have to keep on suspecting each other. I think believing in a 19th person is better than that. Bringing grandfather outside without opening the doors or windows must be a piece of cake for Beatrice, right? Maria, after taking a single short breath, hung her head and then raised her face again. That's right. Locking a door is useless against a witch. Beatrice is familiar with all 72 demons. The 33rd rank gap gives the power to instantly carry the desired person to any location. To her, taking a person out of any closed ring is not at all easy. Witches sure are incredible. Tell her, if she feels like committing another crime, to do it in a way that no human could. And make me believe that a 19th person, no, a witch, exists. Okay, if I meet her, I'll tell her. Crap. Nothing's made sense for a while now. Just when I wanted to believe a 19th person, I denied. Just when I wanted to believe there are 18 people, I deny that too. Even though I want there to be more than just the 18 people here, I can't accept the existence of that 19th person. In short, even though there are more than 18 people, there are less than 19 people. The number of people in this mansion is 19, bigger than X, bigger than 18. So the number of people can't be represented by an integer. However, it's impossible for there to be anything after the decimal point. You shouldn't be able to show the number of people with anything but an integer. And yet, 19 x 18. How do you explain the fraction less than 1? It's no wonder. That 19th person was something that couldn't be seen. That's why, since you can only write the number of people as an integer, you couldn't see that person. The witch cannot be seen, because Beatrice has no body. Therefore, she's invisible. Is there a 19th person or not? Does the witch exist or not? 18x18, 19x18. The witch exists somewhere in that X.
Fucking X's.
Goddamn, dude.
Well, that clock is real close.
Yeah, what the fuck? So I guess there's probably going to be a bunch of stuff happening at night then, right? Because... I don't know.
You're guessing what?
I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of stuff happening at night then.
A lot of stuff happening?
At night, yeah.
We're getting close to the end.
Of the first?
Yeah.
And there's 8 more.
Yeah.
Or 7 more. What
Yeah,
the fuck,
7
dude?
more. Yeah.
Are they
no.
are they all around this length?
Yep.
Seems really weird how the time frame for this would be a lot faster than the other ones, though.
The time for this is a lot faster than the others?
Yeah, because this entire one is taking place over over almost 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
But then the rest of it will have to take place in a day and a half. All 7 of them.
Sure.
Maybe more like 2 days. I don't know.
Maybe.
If there's or maybe the police will actually come. And then I don't fucking know, dude.
Maybe the police won't even know what's going on. Maybe the police will start shouting about witches. And then they'll get all the police from all over the world there. And then there will be this huge police academy at the island.
No.
And then they'll all get killed by witches.
You know, maybe that's the sequel.
Maybe. Well, this is a sequel already.
To Higurashi?
Yeah.
Right.
There's some
it's kind of he fucking inserted his own mystery novel.
Yeah. And there's a character from Higurashi in this too.
Which one? Nandro?
Sure.
Wait, no, which one? I don't remember any of these guys. Hideyoshi?
Hmm?
It's either Ninja or Hideyoshi, I'm pretty sure.
Sure. It's just like a small character.
Oh, a small character, so that has to be Maria then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Small character. Maybe he's the boat driver.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, or the pilot of the plane.
Or the pilot of the plane. I don't think they ever took a plane.
Yeah, they took a plane and then they took a boat.
No, I mean in Higurashi.
Oh, yeah. Well, they took a boat in Umineko, so...
Yeah,
They
what
took-
about Higurashi?
Yeah, I don't remember a boat in Higurashi.
So then it's Maria.
Sure.
Yep. Master debater.
I'm a master bedater.
I'm a master potato. Alright. So Kinzo's gone. We don't know where he is. He somehow left his...
Natsui murdered him.
No.
Yeah, I'm on Team Natsui murdered him. Are you on Team Beatrice murdered him?
No, because that'd be dumb. I think that it makes sense for... I don't know, because... Fuck. I don't want to believe in the magic stuff, but like it seems it's harder and harder to not believe in the magic stuff, even with all of these rationalizations for how it could be done.
Mm-hmm.
I still suspect Ava and Hideyoshi most.
It's because they did it.
Exactly. See, you agree with me.
Okay.
Okay. This is Friday's episode.
Yep.
So, see you all next week when we find out that Maria is the murderer.
I think there's going to be another murders on Monday. More murders.
More murders.
More murders.
So that would mean that I'm predicting now Aunt Ava and Hideyoshi are going to die.
Maybe.
I'm predicting it. It's my deadly premonition. All
Okay,
right.
come back on Monday, see if he's right.
Goodbye.